kids, come on.
It has been 15 years.
So, all right. So thanks you all for coming in so early.
I know.
Good morning to all of you. Yeah, so we're here to talk about Digimon, specifically Digimon 02. My name is Matt. I'm a fan since it originally aired back in 2000.
And my name is Sarah. I'm his wife, and I'm actually a new fan. I did not watch the series when it first aired. I came back and I watched it as an adult. So he's going to have some serious nostalgia goggles, and I will not. So we're going to be able to kind of relate that.
We're gonna argue a lot.
We're gonna argue, yeah. The basis is we're gonna have very differing opinions, and I'm sure that our opinions are also gonna differ from you guys' opinions.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. So, especially when it comes to 02, because if we all felt the same way, no one would be here, because it'd just be like.
So for those of you who don't know, 02 is pretty divisive for a lot of reasons. We're not here to dump on anyone's fandom. We're not here to make you feel bad, nothing like that. We don't want to run that kind of panel. So we are going to try to be objective. Series does have flaws, and we have our opinions, and you have your opinions, and the only reason we're here talking about our opinions is because nobody else wants to do this panel. So we got a lot of material to get through. So can you
make that bigger?
Yeah.
Thank you. We were trying to figure it out, but it wasn't working.
The Zoom button didn't zoom.
The Zoom button doesn't zoom.
So we got a lot of material to cover. So if you just save all your questions, comments, and concerns until the end of the presentation, that would be awesome. There are going to be spoilers. The show is 15 years old, so yeah. If you haven't seen it yet, and you're really big about the whole spoiler thing, this probably isn't the best panel for you. We are going to talk on some touchy subjects that aren't really child appropriate, depending on your child. So just keep that in mind. So why are we here?
We want to convince you to watch the series, or watch it again. It's for people who haven't seen it. We want you to watch it. It is definitely just divisive, and the people have some very strong opinions on it. And some people say it's the worst of all of the Digimon seasons, but it's still worth watching. So we want to kind of convince you on that point, but we will touch upon things that may have been weaker. So it's.
So what are we going to talk about? Well, we're going to start off by telling you where the series came from. Then we're going to get into what it's about. Then we're going to talk about what it's been doing for the past 15 years, and we're going to finish up with where did it go? See, I made a slide.
Oh, we have a slide. Our very good friend Alec came up with the idea of doing it. So I'm going to ask. Yeah. So I'm going to ask you guys for certain things, and then we'll come up with it. Yeah. So okay. First things first. I'm going to need a verb in the present tense. Why wait up? I can't do the noise.
Baking.
That's not a verb.
Baking.
Baking?
Bake would be a verb in the present tense.
Bake. We'll do that. A plural noun. So a thing or
Dog. Baking.
dog.
All the way. It is.
Body part.
Foot.
Elbow.
Armpit.
Someone said elbow the loudest and clearest, so. Place.
Eiffel Tower.
Took the town. Kirkwall.
And another place.
Kirkwall.
Kirkwall. A phrase or idiom. So no.
A mile.
That's the incredible. Yeah, we tried.
You could probably move the projector back.
It's
Yeah,
distracting.
down.
Oh.
Occupation.
Therapist.
Pilot.
A verb in the present tense.
Think.
Article of clothing.
Something. Skirt. T-shirt.
I heard pants. Let's see. Another verb in the present tense.
Slash.
All right. Family member.
Mother.
to the nitty gritty.
Wanna do this one?
Yeah, you get
All right, so where did this series come from? Well, it's the sequel to the first series, or in the English, first season, Digimon Adventure. It was actually developed and produced before the first series even finished airing. The first series was pretty successful. Pokemon was still going, so Digimon wanted to produce more content. So they came up with Digimon Adventure 02, which we'll just refer to as 02 for simplicity's sake. So why do they call it 02? Well, it's the second series, the direct sequel to the original. Obviously, it takes place in the year 2002, and there's a whole, violating binary thing that I'm sure somebody thought was pretty interesting. It aired from April 2nd, 2000 to March 25th, 2001. It started airing 1 week after the final episode of Digimon Adventure in Japan, so they didn't even get a break. They just went right into the second series. You want to talk about this?
Oh, yeah, I did do this research, huh? Alright, well, the series composition was done by, I'm gonna butcher names, by the way, Atsushi Maekawa and Genki Yoshimura. And they were the former screenwriters for Digimon Adventure, the original series. The screenwriting team was actually left unchanged, which I found very interesting, because when you look at the series, they have two totally different feels. So when the fact that they didn't change any of the writing staff is like, okay, and Satoru Nishizono is the series composition writer for Digimon Adventure, so he had a very big hand in just the plot in and of itself of Digimon Adventure is one of the strongest parts of it, and he only screenwrote for like one episode, and it was for episode 8. And there you can actually, going back and looking at it, you can tell it's
Episode
very
8
different.
is the one where everyone finds out the identity of the Emperor.
The Digimon Emperor.
Where they have the soccer game.
Yeah, and
the hanging them from the cliff and everything.
yeah, and Chiaki Konaka.
Can I talk about him?
Konaka.
Yeah, Jackie Kanaka.
Yeah.
So this is the guy who did Serial Experiments Lane. He's also authored some of the post-Lovecraft Cthulhu mythos, and would go on to be the series composition writer for Digimon Tamers, the third series. He wrote episode 13, which is probably one of the more controversial episodes, only because the adaptive writers did such a bad job of translating it into English. Go back and watch it in the original Japanese. I would, the Cthulhu episode. Go back and watch it in the original Japanese. It makes a lot more sense, especially the quote-unquote relationship between TK and Kari. That was pretty much invented by the adaptive writer for that one episode. Chiaki, yeah, you can tell this sketch you see in the bottom is actually from 1992, so you can tell that this concept has been kind of like bouncing around in his brain for quite a while before he actually wrote the episode. It stands out a lot, and that's because he only wrote the one episode. And speaking of adaptive writers, only 3 of 12 the original adaptive writers stayed on for the second season, which could explain why it's a little bit different than the original. It's a bit more punny, it's a bit more
The jokes are a bit
ridiculous.
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty, the setting is still the digital world.
It's different.
But it's different because I think the biggest and most glaring difference is that time is synchronized. Time they spend in the digital world lapses in the real world at the same rate. So they can't just screw off and spend 3 months in the digital world and come back and find it's been a minute.
They're not on Narnia time.
They're not on Narnia time anymore. They have the deep digivices, and that's how they open the gate to the digital world and back. And there are barriers that are breaking down, so you're finding they're blurring over into the real world relatively often in this series.
Well, this also this has a lot to do with the story of the
Yes.
second series itself and why it's so much different. You don't have as much, the hero going on the voyage so much as it is. It's a bit more episodic, and that has to affect the whole character development.
Call the police.
The digital world is now broken into a grid pattern, probably because of the Emperor's conquest. Each zone possesses a CRT portal that they use to travel back and forth every episode. We find out that there are parallel dimensions in addition to the digital and physical worlds. The Dark Ocean, which is established in episode 13, as well as the, it's not really given a name, but the dream fantasy
Yeah.
world. That's
The world of
established
Queen
at the end there.
That's a given name, the world of Queen.
And also, the digivolving is different there, so they, came up with this plot of the Emperor basically, what do you want to say?
Like sealed their ability to digivolve right
Yeah,
as the normal way
These Dark Towers.
with the Dark Towers, and so they armor digivolve instead using digi-eggs and digimentals.
It's a way to sell them toys, essentially.
Yeah, it's great. Themes for the series.
There are a lot
a
of
ton.
them.
There are tons of different themes that they touch upon.
Some might say too
So-
many.
Some might say, and I'm one of those people that would say too many. Some of the themes include redemption and sacrifice, and you'll see that in the case of Ken, especially, where Black Orc Greymon and Oikawa later on. Control and manipulation is a huge theme through the entire thing.
Again.
Everybody's being controlled by something or someone, and then again, like all Ken,
Antagonists.
Black Orc Greymon, and Oikawa. And if you're noticing a theme, all these are our antagonists. So we'll get into that. Mortality, and that's something that they touch upon pretty significantly.
Especially with human characters.
Yeah.
They didn't really.
Well, no, there's Wormmon in there, and
Well, yes.
Wizardmon.
What I'm saying is that they didn't really address that in the first series. They
Yeah.
didn't really address like human mortality.
Yeah,
In the
And-
first series, you did not show the body of a dead child lying in
the
the
street, no.
Well,
Second
technically,
series.
they did do
We'll,
that.
we'll get to that. We'll get to
We'll
that.
get to
Light versus darkness.
Yep, so we have hope versus despair, and benevolence versus aggression and things along those lines. And all the gray areas in between, they kind of touch upon that, where everybody's motivations are their own, and there's not necessarily especially as the series draws on, you're seeing that there's not necessarily, they're evil, so eliminate them. Like,
Well, there is a binary in the sense that there's a physical manifestation of light, darkness, good and evil, but all the characters they kind of fall somewhere in between on the grayscale, and that has a lot to do with the type of story that's being told here.
characters.
So we've got the returning characters from the original series. They're mostly in supporting roles. They provide exposition. They provide some helpful guidance to the younger generation. In terms of individual character development, the antagonists have very developed story arcs that go on for several episodes. They have a very well-defined beginning, middle, and turnabout that lasts for a good chunk of the series. The protagonists, on the other hand, their individual development is usually contained to a single episode.
If at all.
The flaw is addressed very early on in the episode, and then it's resolved at the end. You don't really see too much of the overall character development over the course of many episodes, like you
Yeah.
did with like Izzy coming to terms with his adoption, or Matt being able to rely on others, things like that.
Which he doesn't.
What you see instead, especially with the protagonists, you see the character relationships develop more, the relationships between the characters than within the individuals themselves. And this is exemplified in the DNA digivolving, which can only work between two characters. You want to talk about Davis?
I'll talk about Davis. Davis has the digimentals of courage and friendship. So that's his entire character, just about. He is very much a combination of the two characters, Ty and Matt from the original series, and he's very simple, and I guess it's something endearing, in a way. He's initially very arrogant and selfish, and he's all about, impressing Kari more than anything.
Impressing everybody.
Well, yeah, but Kari's the top of that list in my mind. He doesn't care about his parents.
No,
So, they don't care about him, so it's good. But, and then ultimately later on in the series, he is less
Slightly.
arrogant, but no, he's and more caring, but not in any really, he's probably the least defined character, and you can definitely see that towards the end of the series with the dream world and Malayota's Mon, where he's just like, privilege, armor, energize, and he doesn't care.
I would say optimism, but I think Davis's biggest development is learning to do the right thing when it's difficult. You see on the picture at the bottom where he gets the jig of friendship. He doesn't want to fight, not because he's afraid of what will happen to him, but he doesn't want to accept the responsibility Digimon, basically.
Oh,
They
so
think he's
that
killed
little-
the Digimon,
that
but
little-
it's not. And they're
Oh.
arguing, and Davis's point is basically that, doing the right thing is not always easy. It's not always simple. It's not always pretty. Sometimes you have to do difficult things in order to do the right thing.
And he does have an older sister, and his sister's name is June, and she's one of my favorite characters. It's just because she's just ridiculous.
Yoli, so she's got the Digi-Eggs of love and sincerity. In the original Japanese, it's actually love and purity. She's initially very abrasive, very overreacting, but it's kind of a front. She doesn't really have much confidence. She tends to overcompensate for these shortcomings that she really only thinks she has. She's really the team motivator. She tries. She puts on a brave front, but really she's still got a long way to go. She's got all these brothers. She kind of feels left out, so she makes a big scene essentially too because she's bringing more attention. Ultimately, she learns to be a lot more honest about her feelings. She learns to care about others, and she learns to appreciate her family. She probably gets the most character development in episode 18, Run Your League Run, which is when she's all amped up. She wants to fight, and it ends up like getting Hawkman seriously hurt in the end. And she learns that it's not all up to her to motivate everyone. She's got to work with the others too.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make a little note and mention, especially in the episode where she's with Mimi, and it's a little picture down there. The moment I saw that, I immediately thought Revolutionary Girl Lieutenant, and I just was like, oh my gosh, like they did that on purpose. They may not have, but I accept it. I accept it as canon.
You want to talk about that?
I do want to talk about Cody. Cody is my Joe, and he's my favorite of the new protagonists. Cody has the Digimentals of reliability and knowledge, or reliability or sincerity. He's always been a bit more mature and a bit more reserved. He's got a bit of tendency for absolutism, and he sees things in a very black and white manner, and he learns not to over the course of the series. He doesn't believe that he deserves the Digi-Egg of reliability / sincerity. He's like, I'm not that reliable.
It was sincerity in the original Japanese
Yeah.
version, which
So,
kind of plays into the whole I told a lie, I don't deserve this Digi-Egg of
yeah.
reliability, sincerity. Yeah.
And I'd make an argument that he has the most character growth out of all of the protagonists in the series. He has to do with a lot of forgiveness, and he does reconsider that binary stance. And he has to cope with the death of his father again, because at the time when you first introduced him, it had never been brought up. He had already coped with it, and then it's brought up again, and so he has to cope with that memory again, and that's heavy for a 9-year-old kid. So I was like, wow, all right, Cody.
I think how he's got a bit of hero worship going for his father too. Like it's never really addressed, but I wonder if maybe his reverence for his father, being a police officer, kind of lends itself to his binary perceptions of no, this is what is right and this is what is wrong. There's a very clear line defining the two.
Also, his grandfather's adorable.
Choo-choo.
His choo-choo. These two get two on a slide because they are strong.
Kari's like the Deanna Troy of the group. She's always feeling something. She's always freaking out when the powers of darkness come calling. She does ultimately become a lot more confident, and that, again, has a lot to do with her relationship with Yoli. She empathizes with Ken very strongly in that they're both targeted by powers of darkness, but unlike Ken, she had TK and Yoli to help her find her way back out of it again. Ken never had that. He was pretty much alone, which is why he becomes the Emperor. TK, I have a really hard time with TK. I know everyone loves TK, but I have a really difficult time, especially in 02, figuring out what he's all about, really. They play it up that he has this trauma over the loss of Angemon, but it's never really present in the first series. Like it's around for a couple of episodes, and then he just tells Padawan to get lost, not once but twice after that. And if he was so traumatized over losing him, you think he would be like, "Why are you listening to our conversation? Go away. I want to be friends with Demimon."
He only cares about Angemon, not Pat.
Maybe that's
How
what
long's
it is. I mean, it makes sense. When he first sees Devimon, he kind of brings it back, and that makes sense. But his attitude changes drastically with respect to Ken. You know, he punches him in the face, but then a couple episodes later, he's like, "Yeah, we should totally forgive Ken." And then he's like, he's willing to kill Black Lord Greymon. And then, but then he turns around and says, "Nah, you know, I hate the powers of darkness, but trying to destroy them is probably impossible. You know, that won't work." And the problem with all these aspects of personality is that there's no transition really. He just kind of goes from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds flat, and he doesn't really develop so much as he does flip flop. And I have a really hard time figuring this guy out. So the relationships, like we said, the relationships tend to play a bigger role in the characters than the individual developments themselves. You see this especially with Cody and
everyone.
well, all the antagonists, Ken, Black Lord Greymon, Oikawa. You know, at first Cody is very much against involving Ken at all because he's just like, no, he was a monster. We don't want anything to do with him. But I feel like he's a bit more sympathetic towards Black Lord Greymon because he's a Digimon, and he tends to view Digimon as being more innocent than he does people, I guess. Whatever the reason, that kind of opens the door to him forgiving Ken, really. In fact, it's actually the episode after the Black Lord Greymon arc that he accepts the Christmas party invitation and says, "Okay, we're good now. We can be friends." And then after all that, he has to deal with Oikawa after that. And by that point, I think he's got a firm understanding that things aren't really black and white, and that allows him to be the one to really forgive Oikawa in the end and help him redeem himself. Because if he hadn't had his relationship with Ken Michael Greymon, he would have gotten to that point.
And Ken and the entire team, you watch their relationships kind of grow and form from the moment he ceases to be the Digimon Emperor. Ken and Wormmon is a really, really interesting relationship that they develop to a they develop it heavily, I think. And Ken and his family, you get to watch him basically tell his mom's gruff and then come back and be like, "No, wait, I love you." And then his parents are his parents are very much parents. You know, they were worried about him at most paramount. You know, they were concerned, they've always been concerned about him. His mom cries when he goes to a sleepover, which is cute. So I like that a lot. I thought it was sweet. There's also some notable relationships. Oikawa and Hida Hiroshi, which is Cody's father. Oikawa and Cody's father were best friends, and the loss of Cody's father affected Oikawa very, very much too. Kari and Yo Lee have this relationship where they're mutually supporting each other, and that's really, it's kind of nice. I feel like it's a lot of a throwback to Sora and Mimi, you know, because they were very much, you know, they were gal pals, and they, you know, support each other, help each other, and they were just, you know, they were never really catty to one another, which is nice. Davis and Yoli is one of my favorite minor relationships because Yoli has all these brothers, you know, and Davis has an older sister, and they relate like that. They're just constantly squabbling and you know, but in an affectionate way.
They relate to each other the same way that they relate to their respective siblings.
They're always fighting.
They're always fighting with each other, and it's kind of like you know, as much as they can't stand their siblings, they kind of latch on to each other.
I feel like it would have been awesome if they would Digivolve. That'd be great.
That would have been cool.
Video break!
Let's take a break.
Oh, I love this line. It makes me so
We
happy.
need some yucks.
We need to laugh.
We don't need to be this, that.
So anyway, Davis is over at my brother's house, and so he probably won't be home until a little later on. What?
You're lying.
Huh?
I can tell when people are lying because they usually start blinking a lot.
What?
I promise not to tell my parents you were lying if you promise to go out on a date with me, okay? See you Friday at 8.
How did that happen?
Some girl named June called today, Matt, and she said you have a date with her on Friday. She wanted me to tell you that she made dinner reservations for you two at Moriali's.
Moriali's? What's that?
The most expensive restaurant in town.
This is old Davis's fault. I can't believe I have to take his sister out on a date.
Hey, Matt, something smells great. I'm getting hungry.
Dinner's ready?
You rugged camping men all set to go?
Yep, thanks for taking us.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should get going.
Right.
Hi there, Matt. I'm ready.
Huh? Isn't that Davis's sister? What's she doing here?
I have no idea.
We'll see what you can do to get rid of her, okay?
Right. Hey, June, what's going on?
I thought this camping trip would be a perfect romantic getaway for us.
Oh, I see.
Lucky Matt. Girls must chase him all day.
I know exactly how he feels.
By the way, where's Davis and the others?
Oh, those guys, they went ahead of us in another car. A friend of my dad's has a really big minivan.
Where do I sit?
First I have a present to give you.
Huh? Me?
Yeah, but it's in the car and I didn't get a chance to wrap it, so close your eyes and count to 10 and I'll be right back with your present, okay?
Okay, Matt. 1, 2,
Okay, Dad.
3,
Step on it. You wanna
4,
leave her here?
5,
Yep.
You have a lot to learn about women, Matt.
Where did I hear that?
9, 10. Huh? Matt? Where's my present? Hey, Matt! I made it!
Oh no, she followed us. She's like a boomerang that keeps coming
It's
back.
funny, but when you drove off with your tires screeching, you didn't realize you left me standing there.
My bad. Sorry about that. I must have forgot.
Oh, where are Davis and the others?
I think Ty knows. Hey, Ty, do you know where the others went?
Let me think about that for a sec. Izzy, weren't you the last one to see them?
Of course. I'll go find him right now. Oh, boy, what am I supposed to do? The digiport is opening.
Did you guys hear that noise?
It could be a wild animal.
Yeah, the woods are a dangerous place. You better leave quick.
I'll tell Davis you stopped by.
There they are.
Hey, June, who invited you to come out here?
Matt did. Hey guys, wait for me.
That was a close one.
Hey, would it be okay to get a ride home with you guys? I don't want to take the bus all by myself.
No way, not in a million years. Take the bus. It's not my fault you came all the way out here.
It's not fair.
Come on, kids. That's not nice. Someone take the bus with June.
Huh? That's very nice of you, sir, and I already have the perfect volunteer in mind.
And the absolute perfect volunteer is TK.
Matt, you take the bus home with June.
I'm broke.
There's more than enough here.
Have fun, you two.
Have her home before curfew.
I'll trade for your seat.
Don't be silly, you'll sit with me. Come on, Hunk. We better go catch the bus. It's a long ride.
Please, TK, you can have my college money.
Bye. See you in 4 hours.
I give up.
Basis is June is awesome and Matt is still a jerk.
And this is the guy who was literally about to punch the hell out of Davis for being like, my sister's a real obnoxious brat. He's like, what, how dare you treat your sister that way?
Here are people like bail on her.
Some more characters.
The Antagonists. This is where we got some
This
meat
is where
and
things get
potatoes.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Digimon Emperor. He thinks he's playing a game, and he starts off playing as the bad guy because playing as the bad guy is fun. He starts off cool and calculating. You know, he kind of enjoys the challenge that our protagonists present to him at first, but not for very long. After a while, he's just like, why can't you guys go brief somebody else? Seriously, I'm just trying to play the game here and slay as many Digimon as I can. Is this associative flake caused by the death of his brother? His brother died. I think he pushed him maybe. Spontaneously leaving community and typical activities. All right, yeah, I can see that. Creating new identities and lives.
You don't think.
Just a little bit. The dark spore. You want to talk about the dark
Yeah,
spore?
the dark spore is basically, that's what they hold responsible for what is sociopathic behavior on his part. He's very narcissistic. He believes himself to be better than everybody else because to a certain degree he is. He's very smart, he's very athletic, and people worship him for that. He's apparently his outer appearance is to be charming and amiable. He's able to have the media wrapped around his finger. He has his parents wrapped around his finger. He has the school principals like, hey, you should tutor my daughter. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't. It wouldn't be right for me, for kids to be teaching other kids. And the teacher's like, oh, but he is very manipulative. He's able to manipulate people into doing what he wants them to do. Perceiving him the way they want to be perceived, but when he's left on his own and left unattended, he's very sadistic and he's very cruel. He takes pleasure in causing pain, not just in Digimon. I don't know that they include this in the dub.
They don't.
In the sub series, and he kicks a puppy. He's just walking down the street and he just kicks a puppy, and I'm like,
it's in the dub, but they don't actually show the boot on puppy impact.
Yeah.
Which we're doing.
no. They kind of allude to the fact that he may have kicked a puppy, but no,
In the
he
original
did.
version, they show that puppy
He did.
flying.
Yeah, no, he hunted.
So,
But his redemption is begun by Wormmon's sacrifice because Wormmon is
Jesus.
Wormmon died for his sins. Now he transforms into, he's redeemed by Wormmon's sacrifice, and he overcomes the influence of the Dark Spore.
But is he forgiven?
But is he forgiven? Is the biggest question of the series. So he gets the crest of kindness, which is, I don't know, ironic, I guess. But like rain, on your wedding day. But he is the first redemption story. He is the first redemption story. He's the first redemption arc. He does have a pretty tragic backstory in that he has this brother who's very close to, and his brother that he lives in the shadow of to a degree, but he's contented with that as a child. And he loses his brother, and his parents are distraught over the death of their child. And Ken feels like he's fallen to the wayside.
He also feels responsible.
And he also feels responsible for the death of his brother. So, and then after that, the Dark Sword makes him want to surpass his brother, and and his parents to forget his brother, and just be all about him. He does have some dissociative amnesia, his trauma from the actions of Digimon Emperor. So he forgets the Dark Ocean and his Digimon, and he comes back.
He forgets a lot of the technical aspects of like what he knew. And he talks about that a lot later on in the series. Like, why can't I remember anything that would actually help? Yeah.
His inferiority complex. He considers himself irredeemable and untouchable and sullied. So he doesn't function well with the rest of the group. He doesn't jive well with them because he's like, I'm sorry, you guys, I'm not worth hanging out with. And it's like, I'm so bad and no one should look at me. And then Davis is just like, nah, you good.
Your pupils are bigger now. Clearly, you're not a bad
Clearly,
guy.
you're not. And in the end, he is redeemed. He sets aside his personal guilt to do what is necessary to save the world. And he reconciles the difference and the subtle difference they kind of give between feeling guilty feeling guilty over the things he's done, and the fact that he has actually been controlled and victimized to a degree. So I felt like that was a really good thing to kind of touch upon, as opposed to just making great jokes.
Oh, can we talk about Arcanimon?
I love Arcanimon and Mummymon
They
so
don't
much.
get much development necessarily the way the other antagonists do. There's no real tragic backstory or heel-turn redemption or anything like that. They're just fun to watch.
They just transition slowly. They go from being primary villains to being comedic relief. As soon as Blackboard Greymon shows up, it's like, no, you guys aren't even worth it anymore. They get, at first they're really strong, and then they push the characters to digivolve to their, what is it? Digivolve.
They got Digimon forms and they got human forms. They got back and forth.
And they flip-flop back and forth, and it's just later on they just get so funny. They have this cute little S&M relationship where Arcanimon just bullies Mummymon and keeps him around, and Mummymon loves it.
Beats him
up. Beats him up, throws him off cliffs, and things like that.
Kicks him,
and
makes him
Mummymon's
bleed.
just like, every time she hits me, I fall a little more in love. And I'm just like, you're so sweet, Mummymon. You're just the best.
I mean, even in the dub, when the jokes were just terrible, when it's their delivery, I think that has a lot to do with the performance by the voice actors. Marie Devlin Arcanimon also does the voice of Togemon and Izzy's mom, and then Kirk Thornton is also the voice of Gabumon.
redemption arc, and he is created by Arcanimon out of 100 control spires, and he's extremely powerful, but he's conflicted because he doesn't know why he exists. He has feelings. He doesn't know what to do with them. He's sentient, and he has a being and he has a consciousness, but he doesn't know what to do with it. He has no will to live or survival instinct. He just wants to find meaning for his existence. He realizes he's been created. He wonders why. And at that point, the only thing he's ever been told is, you've been created to destroy stuff and fight. And he's like, all right, I guess I'll just do that until answers come to me, which is kind of a natural response. When you don't have anything else, you're going to do the one thing you know to do until you're learned to do anything else. It was really interesting to watch him interact with Agumon. There's an episode where Blackboard Greymon's like roving across the landscape, and he just stumbles across Agumon, who's like, sup? It's literally just like, hi, how are you? Let's be friends. And like, Blackboard Greymon's like, what are friends? And Agumon's like, I don't know, friends. He's not the brightest Digimon. So, and so Blackboard Greymon's is asking him all these huge, like, exponential questions. He's like, what is love? What is caring? What is happiness? And Agumon's like, I don't know, it's like a feeling, like when you eat food. He's like, what's food? And Agumon's like, I'm really confused, let's just be friends. So, and it's great, and then naturally he's like, this is dumb. And Blackboard Greymon roves across the landscape some more. I'm gonna go destroy some stuff. I think the only issue I take is, in the dub, they never let him have any quiet time. The adaptive writers don't like to have any silence, so they fill in the noise with monologue, or they fill in the blanks with noise, or talking, or just, redundant speaking. So, there are moments in, especially the subtitle version, where Blackboard Greymon is just contemplative, where he's just like, he'll say something, and then he just thinks on it for a little while, and he's not necessarily just talking his way through every last thing in his head. It's great because he finds purpose in destroying the Destiny Stones, because the Destiny Stones he feels is going to provide him, destroying the Destiny Stones will provide him with an opponent that's worthy of him. He doesn't want to fight anyone weaker than him. He's tired of just destroying stuff. He's like, this is boring. So he needs to find purpose in fighting what is eventually a Zulongmon. And the Zulongmon's like, nope. So he destroys the last Destiny Stone, the Zulongmon shows up, he's like, fight me! And Zulongmon's like, no.
Chill out.
You need to chill.
Let me explain. Let me drop some science. This is how it is. This is the real reason why you were created.
You were created to destroy this world is basically what it comes down to. And to seal his power. Because he's created out of the control spires. And he is again redeemed. It's the redemption arc, and he redeems himself through self-sacrifice to protect the world that he was created to destroy. He goes to the physical world to die, and then eventually he dies to seal the gate in between the two worlds to keep Oikawa from going into the digital world. I mean, it doesn't work out, but
well, I think one of the more interesting aspects about Blackboard Greymon to me is that, like the partner Digimon, he is compelled to protect. Like the scene with the flower, for example, he saves the flower. He doesn't understand why. He's like, why did I do that? He jumps in front of Cody's grandfather without even thinking about it to protect him from Oikawa. Like he wants to protect. He wants to be a protector, and to an extent, he wants to fight because, in this franchise, the two are kind of one and the same. But unfortunately, he wasn't really given a mentor in the form of Arcanimon. It was just like, no, follow orders and do what I tell you to.
Yep.
But that was very interesting to me that he wanted to be a partner Digimon. He just didn't have a partner.
it would have been cool if Arcanimon forced him to Digimon. You had a skull, like black skull.
Skull Omnimon.
Yeah. All right, you can talk about Oikawa.
Oikawa. So here's our third redemption story. They make him to be extremely vile and despicable. And then that's kind of what I'm getting into. I'm talking about. He's got this tragic backstory where he was an outcast as a kid, and his only friend, his father, dies. He believes that he is the architect of everything that's going bad in the show, because he just wants to get into the digital world, which is his childhood dream. Even though he thinks he's running things, turns out, nope, you are being manipulated too. Again, that theme of manipulation and control. He does does achieve his redemption at the end through sacrificing himself to basically restore the energies of the digital world, and through Cody leaving him essentially to the very end. My problem with Oikawa is
His face.
they take him to such a dark place, especially in this scene where it's like
children.
no, it's just the way it's done. It's really a rape metaphor, is what it is. That scene, and it's really disgusting and it's really dark. And I don't mind taking it to a dark place because Zero Two does that a lot. But then to turn around and be like, oh, we want you to empathize with this character 2 episodes after this scene. It's really difficult. I feel like they just kind of played it. I think they overplayed it. Yeah,
Sharp turn.
a little bit.
Hit a little whiplash there.
If they really want me to feel bad for this character, it's kind of like with a Ken kicking puppies.
Yeah, Ken kicking puppies.
I can't get over the
like,
fact that he kicked a puppy. I'm like, I can't get over this scene. My God, it's disturbing. Iotismon. There is no redemption for my Iotismon.
There's no love for him.
The thing I love about this little twist, his behavior is strewn throughout the series. Okay, we talked about the themes being, one of the strong themes being manipulation. He is a very manipulative character, even when he's first introduced in the first series.
Yep.
He manipulates the children through Digimon so that their crests won't glow. He manipulates Gatomon into thinking that she's something that she isn't. And then, of course, in 02, he's manipulating
everyone.
He's manipulating Oikawa, he's manipulating Ken, he's manipulating this Dark Sport children, he manipulates the Digi-Destined through the mental illusion attack at the end. He is a sadist. He just delights in killing anything and everything. He kills his own minions. He does this in the first series. He does it in the second series when he tortures Arcanimon and Mumbling to death. He still wants to dominate both worlds. And there is a lot of foreshadowing in the series, if you go back and watch it again, as to who the big bad is at the end. The Digimon Emperor's conduct with the whip, whipping Digimon, is the same as how he whipped Gatomon in the first series. The fact that Wizardmon comes back from the dead, essentially, to warn them. The fact that it's Wizardmon, one of the Digimon that was supposedly one of his underlings. The fact that the dark spores drain life energy from the neck of the children, the way he sucks the life energy out of humans, the vampire, the neck. And one of the coolest things I noticed was, if you notice Oikawa's gate program, where he goes to Hype Terrace to open up the gate, it's the exact same tablet from Iotismon's castle in the original series with the cards. The difference is Oikawa uses the Agumon card instead of the Omon card, like Tai does to open up the correct gate. So when he uses the Agumon card, it opens up the gate to this parallel alternate dream world, which is probably what he was playing on.
From the start, yeah. Because why would my Otismon give him incorrect cards?
My only gripe with my Otismon is he just looks dumb.
Yeah, no, that's a terrible design.
I know they were trying to go for like future my Otismon of the future, but I think it looks silly.
It does. I remember that was one of the raving text messages I sent you.
But he's
as I was
just
watching the last.
He's just so cruel and bad that it just kind of makes up for him.
He is pure evil. Like, they don't try and make you sympathize with him. They don't try and make you like go, but what is his motivations? No, he's just bad.
He just wants to conquer.
He's just bad.
And I kind of like the idea that they kind of went back to the idea that, like, okay, Digimon die in the digital world, they go to Primary Village. Where do Digimon who die in the physical world go? Do they stick around? Do they go to, like, Oblivion? Like, where do they go? Well, Oikawa, or Otismon goes into Oikawa's brain, essentially. So, it was an interesting plot twist to be like, oh yeah, that guy you thought you beat last, 3 years ago? Yeah,
He's back.
Yeah, it turns out you didn't do that very well.
Oh, story.
The story.
Black Theron.
Very, very dependent on the original series. If you haven't watched the original series, you're not gonna.
It's going to be tough to understand what's going on. I mean, they throw so much at you. They exposition really hard in the first, dozen episodes. And then after that, they just go. It just go. Fight this guy. All right, you beat that guy? Fight this guy. All right, you beat that guy? Fight this guy. All right, you beat that guy? Well, my Otismon. That was it.
It's a very different story type than the original series. And the original series was very much Voyage and Return and, overcoming the monsters in this case. 02 is very much a rebirth story. tragedy with heel-to-face turn. It's not so much about, like we said, it's not so much about the protagonists nearly as much as it is about the antagonists. They're the ones who get the most screen time. They're the ones who get the most development.
Which is to say, they are very interesting antagonists, and their stories are very interesting, all three of them. So, I mean, it
just doesn't leave a lot of time for the protagonists.
Yeah, but who cares? They're children.
I guess. The dramatic narrative is not really as defined as it was in the first series. You know, in the first series, you had a very well-defined, exposition, rising action, climax, etc. This one doesn't really have that. It's all rising action, which is kind of a pit that a lot of storytelling falls into, unfortunately. But it doesn't even have like a structure with respect to the cores, the 13 episode blocks either. It just kind of, everything is kind of jumbled up. You could really kind of change them any way you want to. You could interchange the redemption stories, and it doesn't really affect anyone except for Cody's development, really. It reminds me of a side scroller, where you fight one villain, then you fight the next, essentially.
Until you smell
Until you get to Melamayo's one. Like I said, there is a lot of foreshadowing in there as the big bad is at the end. And also, their use of plot devices over plots. I feel like there are a lot of devices in this series.
Yeah, they do a lot of things to kind of just like
move things along.
Move things along. It's like the Dark Ocean's there just to move things along. The Zulongmon literally exists just to transition plots.
Yep.
And which is a shame because Zulongmon's awesome. He's like a giant dragon in the sky made of lightning. Like how? why is he not more prevalent? But I was like, you wasted an opportunity here.
Not thinking Skyrim joke.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 10 minutes.
Mad Lib. All right.
Do you want to read it?
Yep.
Okay.
So
why do we do this Mad Lib?
Why do we do this Mad Lib?
Remember the epilogue to 02?
Remember the epilogue?
We wrote a new one. You wrote a new one.
Everyone wrote it.
Let's see if it makes as much sense.
So, here we go. We can go in. I'm sorry. It's early. Okay, yeah.
All right, so.
Hey, you made it in time for the epilogue that we wrote.
Tai and Agumon are diplomats baking with dogs between the real and digital worlds, and Tai finally cut his elbow. Matt and Gabumon became an astronaut team and made it all the way to the Eiffel Tower, even though they were only supposed to go to Kirkwall. Sora and Biomon are fashion designers. Biomon says their new line is just the way the cookie crumbles. Joe is the digital world's first therapist. Mimi's Think Show is the only time she takes off her pants. Izzy slashes the digital world. He and his cousin twice removed have their own language. Kari's a teacher. She actually likes being in library. Yoli and Ken are married with children, and Ken and Stingmon are detectives, but Yoli says he can't seem to detect when it's his turn to cry. Cody is a defense attorney. He's bought 100 ferrets. Because Armadillomon keeps sitting on them. Well, Davis finally opened up his chili dog cart. A huge success. There are now chili dogs. Come get your chili dogs. Carts all over the world. So why do we do this?
Because the epilogue it was originally planned for Digimon Adventure. It wasn't even supposed to be part of the 02. So
they just kind of shoehorned the 02.
Yeah, they wanted to show the characters are successful and fulfilling that ending theme of not
would have
surrendering.
made sense at the end of Digimon Adventure because Digimon Adventure was about the protagonist, so it made sense to have an epilogue being like, this is where they are today.
Yeah.
But after 02, it's just like, well, what about our Kenimon and Mummymon? Where are they?
Hey, and yeah, some stories make sense, like Cody being a defense lawyer, and Izzy being a programmer. All right, cool.
But most of them were just random.
Why are Matt and Gabumon on Mars?
But
Shouldn't he have been
done.
with Davis, it makes sense because the randomness of the noodle cart is like the joke in and of itself. Is that Davis is just so. That's just who he is. The relationships. Everyone gripes about the relationships. Everyone's mad because Matt and Sora got together, and not Ty and Sora. But this was actually something that was planned from the very beginning of the first season series.
And to me, it kind of makes sense. Alright, like, bear with me here.
I wish they had
but
developed it a bit more.
I wish they developed it a bit more, but when I think about it, and when I think about Matt and how he's just a douche, and I think about Sora, and those two, I feel as though they would complement one another in that Sora is a very maternal figure, and Matt lives with his dad, you know, and there's that, so that could be a bit of it, you know, it's a matter of like, Sora becomes her mom, yeah, so, and it's gonna be a really, for me it makes sense, I feel as though, I mean, I understand, especially when they develop Sora and Ty, you know, for her to be like, nah, I know I've been together with this dude, but I'm gonna marry some other guy.
Like marry their elementary school sweethearts.
Fair.
I met my wife 2 years ago.
But Yoli and Ken get married, and I think that's cute.
Everyone's mad about Kari and TK not getting together, but I would argue that that's actually a product of the English dub, and specifically episode 13. There's really no relationship.
There's like one line for that.
And they made it up.
And they made it up.
In the original Japanese, TK was just a jerk to Kari, and
Yeah.
I felt bad about it. There was really no feelings involved. So what happened after the series? Well, episodes 44, 45, and 46 got pulled from the Fox Kids and Disney lineups because they were just so dark and out there. They also edited out scenes of control spires being destroyed. I think that was after September 11th because I guess control spires look like
towers.
twin towers, I guess.
Well,
I don't know.
they look like towers.
Also, wasn't one of the episodes with Black or Greymon destroying buildings removed too because of similar reasons?
Possibly. I think
Yeah.
it was. Did you destroy buildings? I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't think it did. Anyway, 2 films premiered during the series run. Digimon Adventure 02, Digimon Hurricane Touchdown, Supreme Evolution, and Golden Digimentals aired in the middle of this. It just rolls right off my tongue.
Perfect.
And that was part of the Digimon the movie, combination that they released here in the States. And then there was Diablo Strikes Back, which didn't become a TV movie here until 05, I think.
Wow.
And then over here in the States, Digimon the movie premiered during the dubs run. We're not going to talk about the movie because we don't have time.
Conveniently enough.
Yes. Home video. A few episodes came out on VHS. Alliance Entertainment put out really well done bootlegs back in 2005 and 2007. But now we have official DVD releases of all first 5 seasons. That includes all the banned episodes, all the scenes of control spires getting destroyed. So I recommend you go out and buy those.
Support the official release.
The original Japanese with English subtitles, streamed by Funimation. Netflix is showing the dubs until the end of the month, I was told.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bummer. That's how I watch it.
There was a manga back when Tokyo Pop was actually a thing. You can still buy them. The CD dramas, I like the one where Davis becomes the Digimon Emperor because he wants girls to like him. And then there's the one where like all the devices, the Digiterminals get mixed up, so the Digimon
They all get each other's
Digimental up
Digimon.
with different eggs, actually,
Oh.
so they do different combinations.
Oh, that would be super cool. I wish
Yeah.
that was a thing.
Well, it is a thing in the games, actually.
Oh my god, that looks so cute.
So you got Tag Tamers, which is premiered like at the very beginning. Actually, that was 2 weeks before the premiere of 02, and it's Ken's background. It tells about how he was going through the digital world, how he met Wormmon, Millenniumon, all that good stuff. And then here in the States, we got those electronic pet games. I don't know if any of you had those, but I would shake those things around like an idiot all damn day. They were so much fun.
I just want to make note that Leafmon is the cutest Digimon, and I will fight anyone who disagrees with me.
Pretty much. The music. I actually like the Japanese from the original, but the second series, the Japanese song doesn't really do it for me.
The English soundtrack is so good though.
The English, it is an eclectic soundtrack. Basically, the soundtrack to the movie is the soundtrack to the second season. It's fun. It's interesting. Inappropriate, but it's very
It's better than the elevator music they have in the sub version when they're going back and forth in the digital world. It's so bad.
I really like the score that they did for this series too. They kind of bumped it up with the Tel Aviv Orchestra for the movie, but they played them all through the second series. You can find the tracks on YouTube actually. Post-series, we got all these other Digimon series we can talk about someday.
Yeah, we'll get there.
And going forward, how much time do we have? We don't.
None.
We have none time. We can't play the trailer. But basically, there's another sequel coming out. So first movie is going to come out in November. All the musicians are coming back to play variations on their theme music. New voice cast for the children, original voice cast for the Digimon, which you'll really like if you're going to watch the Japanese version. And new series composition writer, the guy who did Heaven's Lost Property is going to be whatever, sentient panties, sentient monsters, that's all the same.
All the same, right?
Final thoughts?
Well, that's Leafmon's the cutest. Black Greymon is awesome, and watching War Greymon and Black Greymon fight is pretty much does right the series.
I think this show gets a bad rap mostly because I feel like they tried to squeeze way too much into this. This was very early on in the Pokemon Digimon battle. Digimon was number 2. They wanted to distinguish themselves. They did. They took this in a very dark place that continued in Digimon Tamers, but they had to take risks. They couldn't afford to just be the Pokemon light essentially.
But there are a lot of gems to the series. They touch upon a lot of very serious subjects, and I feel like it's still worth watching.
And I feel like another thing is that fans tend to try to squeeze Zero Two into a box that they shape themselves with their preconceptions, and just try to recognize it for what it is. It's not the same as the first series. It's something completely different. Whether or not you like it, that's a different matter. But at least they try to do something a little bit different. So next year's Tamers, maybe, hopefully,
It'll
will
be
be back.
great.
Yes.
And yeah. Blackboard Greymon's Rainbow. Yes.
Black Greymon's Rainbow.
Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? Now's the time.
Thanks, you.
So many Tamers is better.
We're excited. We have questions for this day. Got the fuzzy thing on it.
Tom, what are you doing? Get out. Get out of there. No.
Look, I have a question about the panel. Where was the handsome guy from last year?